animation with the little wizard kitty that we did, that we started a while back. So crazy that I'm not done with this yet, but I guess you always get caught talking in the stream and chatting about cool things, which is super awesome. But yeah, today I'm gonna see if I can get a little bit further with this today, so that eventually one day we can hopefully finish it and see it in color and with all these special effects. That is what I'm personally looking forward to the most, to do some more amazing special effects here. But yeah, today we're gonna fill in the blanks, so to speak, with the in-betweens that are still missing, at least a couple of them. We're gonna see how far we get today. So yeah, I'm excited to get this started once again. Let me set up a couple things before I can dive into it real quick. I'm gonna do a couple clicks here so I have your comments on screen and I can see everything. Yeah, I hope everybody is doing well today on this fine Friday. And yeah, let's just start with the in-betweens because I want to get it over with. I want to get to the more creative, more challenging part of the special effects, to discover that. Hello RV, nice to see you. Welcome, welcome. Take a seat, grab a cookie, and I mean, I guess it's so hot at the moment here. Maybe I should hand out watermelon slices in chat. I think that would be more appropriate. Hello Zabir on Facebook. Welcome, welcome. So the first in-between that we're going to draw is how we're going to get from here to there to all the way up there. So let's see, we're going to be here. And I'm going to put it very much in the middle, I think. I hope that today we won't have, like, I tried it earlier. We had some performance problems last time. Oh. It is spiking up to 100% CPU if I make longer strokes, longer brush strokes. So I probably shouldn't make long brush strokes, apparently. Hi Shakibul. Hi Trizzy. Nice to see you. Welcome, welcome. I might be a little more quiet on stream today because I already had a 8-hour, well, 6-hour, I guess, you know, with breaks and everything, 6-hour workshop I was giving about Moho, another wonderful animation tool for rigged animation for a company. They want to do their own explainer videos in-house, and they choose Moho to do it with. And I was explaining to the wonderful people from that company who are in charge of the explainer videos how to animate, and they, I think, realized that this is quite a lot of work and that there's quite a lot to do when you try to do a pretty looking animation. I'm always surprised myself of, you know, when I do these kinds of crash courses and I have to tell people in like a couple of hours on how to animate. I'm always amazed of how much it is you have to keep in mind, you know, that there's aspects of physics, aspects of acting, aspects of just design, making things look good. It's just so much to do. RV asks, should I buy the Animator Survival Kit book? Well, that depends. I think if you're really set on 2D animation, like that is the route that you want to go, and you want to learn it the way that the pros did at Disney, like in the good old frame by frame days, then the Animator Survival Kit is definitely a very valuable asset in your library. I would say if you are more of a 3D animator, I mean, it's a good read for every animator, don't get me wrong. There are excellent observations and how-tos for all kinds of things in there. But I feel like, you know, if you are a 3D animator, it's a little bit less of a must. Because, you know, there's great stuff out there for 3D animators. But it is, you know, it is one of those basic books that if you have a library of animation books, you also want that in your library of animation books. And it like some of the things, like for walk cycles, for example, I have never seen any better instructions. Maybe you know, instructions that had a different take on it. But, you know, the Animator Survival Kit instructions on how to do walk cycle is like perfection and gives you so many cool ideas on what you could try and how it works mechanically. That, you know, if you find somebody explaining how to animate walk cycles, for example, they often use the images from the Animator Survival Kit because, you know, that is how you do walk cycles. Sabia asks, do you have any animation of a butterfly metamorphosis? No, I've never animated that. Like a time lapse or something. That could be kind of cool. Be cool things with that, especially if you spice it up with some magic, like morphs all the time. I really do. I really love a good morphing animation. Yeah, no, I've never animated a butterfly metamorphosis, but it sounds cool. And if you're interested in this sort of thing, you should definitely give it a go. RV asks, well, let me see if I can bring this on screen. Which book is good for 3D animation? I mean, I think that nowadays, if it comes to actually doing animation, I think video instructions have pretty much taken the spot of books that books used to have. There is still a place for books. For example, if you want to look up on how to do a walk cycle and what goes into it mechanically, then the Animator Survival Kit is the book to go. It has a bunch of other things like it. Cool things about, you know, lip sync and the basics there that you could use as a 3D animator, definitely. But like in terms of book knowledge, the problem with books in the animation industry is that they are outdated so fast, you know. So I don't know, books for 3D animation. There are a couple books about rigging, if that is important to you, if you want to learn how to rig specifically. There are some really good books about that, like rigging in Maya, rigging in Blender. But if it comes to the actual animation part, I really recommend watching a couple tutorial videos or taking classes, having somebody who can give you input one-on-one, and then just start doing it, start animating with the knowledge that you get from these videos. There are books that I would recommend for stuff like, you know, about body language, about acting, like if it goes into like psychology and this kind of thing. But I have a bunch of books about Blender in my bookshelf, and I did use them. I did start to learn Blender from books, but nowadays, you know, they're completely outdated, and I wouldn't say I got the most out of them. Now they're just kind of sitting on the shelf, and now they're completely outdated because the software has made huge changes and huge development over the time. We have someone from India. Thank you, Babesh. Thank you, Thrizzy. You guys get love from Germany. That's where I am. Can you make comics? It's a really, like, comics has recently been on my mind a lot. I'm thinking about starting a comic strip series kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, it's gonna take like a couple months till I can get started with that. Besides from all the other projects that I want to do also on this channel, you know, like animation short films and stuff like that. Some of them we already started writing on the channel in live streams. You can see in some of my alt live streams. We already started working on some of these short films that we're gonna do. And yeah, I would love to create some comics. And if I do, you can probably watch me do it here. But yeah, we'll see. For now, there's some jobs that I have to finish before I can fully dive into my passion projects. But at least, you know, we have this nice little kitty here to make us happy. Okay, what's happening up here? We have a little overshoot here. We're coming down from the overshoot with an ease. Alright, okay. So far, so good. RV says, one of my friends suggested me to learn force drawing as well. Is it worth to learn that? I'm not sure I know force drawing. Is it like a very loose kinda... I see. I'm looking up some pictures right now. Okay, the force drawing does go with the flow of the muscles and the energy. That looks pretty cool, what I see pop up on Google for force drawing. Yeah, I don't know it under this name, but it looks like, you know, definitely for an animator to learn to go with the flow of the muscles and the motion and everything. That's certainly a very valuable skill to have. I don't know it under this name though. Fortunately, I had some art teachers and learned some had some anatomy courses who kind of went into that, like under the, like when we did gesture drawings, that was going a lot in the direction of the pictures that I'm seeing pop up when I Google force drawings. But yeah, it's good to develop an eye for that, how the forces flow through the body, how the body sometimes has a natural flow, even if it isn't moving. You have the flow of the muscles and the shapes going through it. That's definitely a good skill to have, yeah. And it's fun. It's fun, like if you have gesture drawings where you just, you know, you take your pencil and you make big sweeping lines over the entire paper. Like, that's just a lot of fun. So I guess I can recommend it, although I didn't know what it was. That time chart. Anonymous, what is with my time chart, please? Alrighty, we have the overshoot. No, yeah, overshoot. Coming back here. Yeah. Ah, that's gonna be nice. We have a, like, look what awesome thing I did here past Ferdinand. Did an ease for the ear, going into the ear, and we are easing out while we do this. So I already did a nice kind of overlap here. Cool. that's the nicest thing when you do your animation and you start in betweening just painting by numbers and you realize like, oh, I actually looks like I put some thought into this. That's nice. What will be in the animation? This animation, I can play it again. All these people who just joined recently. Let's make it a little bit bigger. So, you know, a lot of it is work in progress. There's still some flashing frames where images are missing. Yeah, so we have the little wizard kitty here doing some wizardly magic. Summoning some milk. And drinking some milk. So that's what it's gonna be. Anonymous said, my prof told me about that, about timing charts, but never understood the timing. Do you want me to try to explain? So let's go here. Where were we? Here. Coming out. And yeah, so we're easing out of here. No, we're having a breakdown. What are we doing? What do my amazing timing charts say? I have to say. Okay, my amazing timing chart says the hand comes to a stop at frame 25. So we do that. Oh, thank you, Strizzy. That's nice. Hello, Arthritic One. Hello, CW. Nice to see you. So what are we doing? Okay, 21 is the 21. Oh, 21 is this one. Is it? Where does it have the frame number here? Oh, you can't see the frame number. Let me pull it up. I'm gonna talk about frame numbers a lot, so in the bottom left corner. Frame 21. Timing chart says, okay, this is our top part of the extreme. 23 is supposed to be a breakdown, and 25 is the arm came to a stop here. Alrighty. With that in mind, with that wonderful, beautiful knowledge that I planned out a week ago or 2 weeks ago, so marvelously, we know that we have to draw exactly in the middle. Hello, Cha-Cha Charlie 08. Good morning or evening there. Yeah, it's evening here. It's after 6. It's 6:30 now. So, how to export in OpenTunes? I do have a video about that. If you look for export video OpenTunes, you should see one of my videos from Animator Island should pop up. You basically have two choices. The more professional choice you have, and that is very wise in a bigger production, is to use the render of an image sequence. Let me save it because sometimes OpenTunes likes to crash, unfortunately. So output settings, here, now it's saving again. In render output settings, that is the professional way to do it. You can set this format to PNG, and yeah, it will give you image sequences, meaning a lot of image files. One image file for every single frame, and then you can drag and drop that into your video editing software like Premiere or so. If you want to just quickly export a preview, or, you know, put something on TikTok or on your phone real quick, then you probably want to look into the MP4 export. And that's a bit more complicated, and you should follow the instructions in the video to install the video encoder. So, yeah. Come on here. I really need to practice my line. I got a bit rusty. I've done too much stuff here with rigging in the last couple months. I guess also years. I miss drawing frame by frame, and I'm doing it right now. So yeah, I hope my line is gonna get a little bit better, especially since we are practicing every Friday now. Did you guys notice? I've been live streaming for the last 3 Fridays in a row. Can you believe it? Regular live streams. What is this? So I think I also deserve a watermelon slice after this. And I really, after the workshop I gave today, after 6 hours of talking, I was like, do I really want to talk more on a live stream today? But, you know, I like talking with you all, and I would miss it if I don't, and I still have my voice. The question is, for how long? Ah, Cha-Cha Charlie, we were talking about the animated survival kit earlier. RV was wondering. Yeah, I think it was RV. That would be a good purchase. And yeah, I got a recommendation from Cha-Cha Charlie 08, so you know it's good. I mean, it's really one of those standard things that, as every animator sooner or later should have a look at it. I just wonder, you know, if it's for a 3D animator, it might not be the most urgent thing to start with. Okay. There we are. I don't like the line there. What am I doing there? Okay. Nudging it out, nudging it into the center, here, around there. Here, and you go away. There. Ah, Slay Troll is from India too. Nice. Lots of nice, wonderful people from India here today. In India it's also later now, right? It's like evening, starting night in India, I think. If I remember it correctly. Nock also recommends Animator Survival Kit. Yeah, it's a good book. There is like a DVD version of the Animator Survival Kit, but unfortunately it's just a collector's item. You know, Richard Williams did all the animations and made like awesome workshops with it. But you know, like the DVD set of it is very expensive. It's like a couple $100, I think, if I remember it right. Which, you know, would be a really cool thing to have. Like, I wish I had it. It would be nice. But... one book I really like, though, I feel like that's always like going under a little bit, is the Animation Crash Course from Eric Goldberg, the animator of the Genie from Aladdin. Really awesome guy, and I feel like it's an often overlooked book. I really like his perspective on, especially, you know, on cartoon and exaggeration and stuff like that. If you are going for like a cartoony style, I feel like Animation Crash Course from Eric Goldberg is also a really, really good read. And it comes with a DVD. You can actually, or I don't think it's a DVD, it's like a CD you can put in your computer. If your computer still has a CD drive with some cool animations on it. Babesh asked, tell us your experience and about the best work you did. The best work I did? What is the best work I did? Very good question. And I love to answer that. I love to talk about cool animations that I did, for sure. I mean, I do love the stuff that I did in the gaming world for Studio Fizbin, because it was very challenging in its own like game animation. I love how it comes with like certain challenges and everything connected to it. For example, the most recent game from Studio Fizbin, Minute of Island. Actually, I don't know if that's the most recent game. They're really having it doing some publishing stuff. Where is it? Here, Minute of Islands.
Four brothers, bound by eternal purpose. They all broke at the same time. And a girl named Moo. She knows what must be done. When the blight first came, people began to panic. And now, the spores are taking hold of whatever remains. Moo's family is still here, however. She has been tasked to protect them. After all, she is the bearer of the Omni-Switch.
Of Violence.
Yeah. So that was a project that I was involved in. I was the animation supervisor for, like, especially in the beginning for most motions. And yeah, I'm really proud of this one because, you know, game animation has its own challenges in that you don't know what the player's doing. You need to expect, you know, you need to make you need to have a bunch of transitions. You need to mix animations and things like that. And I like this technical challenge on top of like acting and the whole animation, like physics stuff, body mechanics, things like that, to think like, okay, what could the player possibly do, and how could I incorporate it? And another aspect, like you're gonna see the wind move her hair and her clothing all the time, because wind is a super important aspect of this game and this world. And I really like, one of the, like, weirdly, some things that make me proud are not that difficult, I guess. For me, it was really important that it looks like Mo is connecting with the world. So she has a bunch of like looking around kinda animations here. Here you can see, you know, she looks like she is looking at her world, looking at the surrounding. That illusion was really important to us, you know, and it is just an illusion because it's like two different look cycles that she has at points of interest, but it does look like she's really taking in the world and things like that. A lot of people are mentioning Adventure Times. Yeah, that's a vibe I got too. We had an awesome art director, Tim Gaetke, art director in Berlin. His art style is amazing, and it was a lot of fun to bring it to life. I love stuff like this, you know, like this lever. I don't think I did this animation. I think my colleague Moritz did, or maybe Kirsten did it. That was another thing. We wanted that she actually touches objects. You know, you sometimes have that in games that a character opens a chest and the chest is like in front of them a little bit away. And we were thinking about systems how we could do that she could connect with another rig and touch it and opening it. Bye, Slay Troll. Nice for being here. Arthritic one. Did you use Moho at all for it? This is not Moho. This was done in Spine. Spine by Esoteric Software. That was... Oh, and her rig is a 360-degree rig. There's like a slider that you can use to turn her around, a full 360. And unfortunately, that shows an example here in the trailer where you can't see her. Oh, and she's sliding a little bit. The anchor at her head is not in sync. This should not happen. But yeah, I mean... It was like this animation was really tough too. I did not animate this, but I don't envy the person who had to. I think it was Kirsten who had to animate the staff. The staff was actually, I think, from a different rig, and she had to connect both of the rigs manually, plug the arms in there. Slate Troll, I usually do lives around this time, after 6. Sometimes I might start, hopefully, an hour earlier. So yeah, this is not Moho, this is Spine, and then put into Unity game engine. Yeah, and I was really proud, and you know, not only of my work, but also the whole team of animators that I had the honor to work with. That was really a fun time, and everybody was doing like really creative with the constraints that we had, because you know there always are a lot of constraints for time and budget and yeah, then technical challenges that had to be overcome. So I'm pretty proud of this one. So Minute of Island, if you like puzzle adventure games, you might want to check this out. Well, platformer puzzle games with a nice story. The story is amazing too, by the way. I just wasn't involved at that at all. Alright, take care, Cha-Cha Charlie. Thank you for stopping by. Um, there's a question. Where to learn animation? Huh, where can you learn animation? For example, on this YouTube channel, especially if it's 2D animation, because if it's 2D animation that you want to learn, you are in luck. We have a whole 2D course on animatorisland.com/2D. It's actually here on YouTube. Most of the videos of it are free. There are some paid bonus lectures if you want to support me doing the course, but most of the videos are completely free and tell you what you need to know about 2D animation. Okay, so I was what was I doing here? Cloth on frame 25 is coming down. Alrighty. So on 23, I guess it's still on its way up. On 23, it's still on its way up. Suwan says, sometimes I get exhausted while animating. Any suggestions for staying motivated? I mean, I hear you. That can be extremely tough to stay motivated and positive and interested in a project for a longer period of time. Yeah, what would I suggest to do? It helps a lot if you make parts of it a habit, especially if you're doing animation on the side. Doing it at a fixed time of day can really help, and really set a realistic goal. Maybe being like, okay, after my day job, I come home like at 6 o'clock or something, or 7 o'clock, I'm gonna animate for an hour. Or draw or anything, you know. This can be applied to any style, any skill. To have like the fixed habit of, and it's always good to start habits by connecting them with something else, like before I have dinner or after I have dinner, to immediately go down, sit for an hour, at least an hour or half an hour. You know, slow and steady wins the race. You don't need to work on it. Always constant. Well, you don't need to work on it always, but it is good to make it constant. And the cool thing about when you say like, okay, I'm gonna build a habit for animating an hour or half an hour every day, and when you start animating for half an hour every day, what will happen is that one day it will be a whole hour, and another day it will turn into 2 or 3 hours. And on some days, you will feel exhausted and burnt out, and then you just do half an hour. Like me with the live stream now. I really, like, after the workshop I was giving today, I was kind of exhausted, to be honest. And my voice, like, for some reason my voice is better now. Just with a short break, but you know, I was losing my voice, and it was like, do I really want to live stream? But you know, it's a habit. I could just live stream for half an hour, and now I'm already live streaming for, I think, more than half an hour. So, you know, that's how that goes. Like, make it a habit to always do it. That can help to well, sometimes not stay motivated. Sometimes you will have to force yourself, but to get something done. And the other thing is work with other people. I think that's a motivation thing also. Like, you know, it doesn't even have to be an animator. If you work with somebody who does music and you working together on a project, like they make cool music for it, you make cool animation for it, you will push yourself, you will push each other to you know, deliver the best work you can for each other. And you have somebody who holds you accountable, who's like, hey, I'm done with the music. Are you done with the animation? Or the other way around, you know? Sumant asks, if you have to suggest something in one sentence to beginner 2D or 3D animators, what will be your suggestion? One sentence. Difficult to put it in just one sentence. You know, I have a live stream here to talk about animation for hours. Now forcing me to say something in just one sentence. But yeah, no, I get that. I mean, the classic one sentence advice is just start. Just do it. Animate. Evaluate. Get feedback. And do it better next time. I think that has to be the cycle. Because, you know, a lot of time what keeps us from... Now I'm going above the one sentence. A lot of the time what keeps us from, you know, starting projects, starting art is like, will it be good enough? I'm not good enough. But, you know, you don't get better until you start. So just start, do something, and get feedback. So you know what you can actually do better next time. Knock. That's nice. God and animators are the only two persons who give a life to a non-living thing. Yes! Yes, that is it. That is exactly it, you know? Like, the feeling how, like, and I love it when you start connecting to your character on screen. When you feel like the character, you're not making the choices. The character starts making its own choices. The character wants to move like that. And you know, it's something that can even happen during writing. Like the character wants to say this and nothing else. This and exactly that is what the character wants to say and do and how they do it. I love it when that happens, when you feel like you have created life on screen. That is my absolute favorite. Nice advice from Colin. Break your project down into smaller pieces. Yeah. That could be an extension of the just start thing, you know, just start. And don't start with make film. Because if you start with make film, you're gonna disappoint yourself because it will be a long time until you reach that goal of make film. And, you know, there will be hard times and times where you don't want to animate and where things are hard and you will feel like you're getting further and further away from that goal. But do 3 animatic drawings. Do the next 3 key poses. Those are goals that are perfect, like for a day of work or something, or, you know, for your 1-hour session or something. That's a really good advice. Hello, Infinite Imagination. Nice to see you. How are you doing? So, what are we doing? We're doing... I'm so glad about these timing charts. We're doing frame 27, and that's the breakdown for the sleeves coming down. So we're doing that. I do realize that my voice is giving up a little bit. So before my voice is completely gone, let me tell you about something. Namely, you can support me on Patreon if you like the stuff that I'm doing here on my channel, in the live streams. Then Patreon is a very good way to help me to spend more time making tutorials, making live streams, and any donation, anything you give is greatly appreciated. And also we have another cool thing over there on Patreon. If you join my Patreon membership in the group mentoring tier, you can join a monthly group mentoring session where I can give you feedback on your work. You can submit anything creative you're currently working on. It can be a story idea, it can be a script, it can be a storyboard, and blocking of an animation, it can be an almost final animation or final animation, and I will give you my opinion on it, my input, my tips and tricks on how to make it better, how to improve your work, and not only your work, your skills in general maybe. So yeah, if you are wanting some feedback and direction on the work that you're currently doing, or you want input on how to further your skills, what else you need to know, what else you need to practice, I can give you exercise and all this good stuff over there in the Patreon group mentoring. So if that is of interest to you, you could join my Patreon on patreon.com/animatorisland. And if you join in the group mentoring, you can be there for the monthly group mentoring session and get a bunch of tips and tricks and feedback on your work. So yeah, if that's interesting to you, please check it out. Thank you, Nock. Says, I watch your 2D classes and currently I'm learning 3D. I'm really glad that I watch your classes. I am so happy that it's helpful. That's great to hear, and makes me very happy that these classes are helpful to someone. And I really hope to complete that series one day, to really have the complete 2D animation class online. I'm still currently working on the timing video. But yeah, it's gonna be glorious. I hope. Now I'm hyping it too much, maybe. But I feel like, the thing is, I started this video about timing, and then I realized the way that I do timing a lot of the times, like, it's not bad, but I've obviously worked at companies and nobody complained. But I feel like through teaching it, through being like, hey, maybe this is how you should do timing, writing down suggestions on how to do a perfect timing workflow, I realized that maybe I could improve my own workflow. So I had to update the timing video a couple of times through, because I realized, like, hey, this might be even easier. This might be even better. And it actually had helped my own workflow, because I do timing differently now compared to how I did it before I started that video. So, yeah, I guess learning through teaching yourself, that really is a thing. And actually, one of the main reasons why Animator Island exists, because there were some things that I learned doing studying that I really wanted to record for myself, and here we are now. Thank you so much. Your animation analysis helped me a lot, gave me a different perspective of watching animated movies. Yeah, I can really, just analyzing stuff you like, I can really recommend that. It helps you to learn so much that you wouldn't think of yourself. So yeah, animating other people's work, always a really good thing to do. And there are very talented people out there, like at Disney and Pixar, and doing the cool animation television series that we have nowadays. I feel like we are very lucky. We are like in a renaissance for cool 2D animation series, like Gravity Falls. I mean, I guess Gravity Falls is already like, what, 10 years old? Oh my god. getting old. But like, Steven Universe and things like this, I feel like we really have some really good contemporary animation. Any advice for fighting animation? This is a question from Zoomant. Well, ideally, if you do a fighting animation, you make it real by actually knowing something about fighting. And you could, what a lot of animators actually do who are interested in fighting sequences and animating fighting sequences is to learn a martial art yourself. To go to a martial arts studio or sword fighting club and learn it. Learn how to do it yourself. Or at least, analyze very carefully fighting sequences in movies and stuff like that, and see what cool moves they have, and really try to describe what they're doing, how they're doing it. Like, really write it down, not just watch it, but like write down what is these successions, where does he punch when, and what happens next, how do they block it and stuff. Put it in a frame-by-frame analysis tool like Sync Sketch. Really cool tool. Let me put the link up, syncsketch.com. Really cool tool for analyzing. You can throw in any video. You can, maybe if you figure out a way how to download videos from YouTube, you can upload them to Sync Sketch and browse through them frame by frame, annotate over them, and see how the great fighting sequences of the world are made. That is something that I can definitely recommend. And try a bunch of things. Do animatics, do previs, where you don't work with the like stuff that is not intended for the final film, where you just test things out. Maybe, with just like generic rigs or something, you do a really awesome storyboard and you revise your storyboard again and again to make it even better. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that can be done for fighting sequences. Sumant is learning 3D animation with Blender. Yeah, that's a great tool to dive into the world of 3D animation. We're definitely gonna do more Blender on the channel too at some point. Probably not this year, but eventually. Hi Hilly, nice to see you. What do you say, Hilly? Do you have any character design? What do you mean, like character design advice? I mean, I'm not the best character designer. There's some people out there who are so incredibly talented with character design. But everybody has their own stuff that they need to get done, and have to dip into character design. Yeah, character design advice. Let's think. Character design advice. I feel like character design. Okay, two things for character design. Character design works best through contrast, through the villain looks different from the hero, and you really need to find a clear shape language for the villain that is different from the one of the hero. The most boring example would be villains often have a lot of sharp lines, sharp edges, downwards curves, zigzag lines, these kind of things. And maybe your hero is more of a gentle type and has bigger round shapes and things like that. So, you don't need to go down the cliche route specifically, but a clear shape language can really help your designs to have a set of characters that are all slightly, but not slightly, but clearly different, because they are in different shape languages. They should still be connected. They should still look like they come from the same world. You also need world rules of how your world looks, how the characters look in your world and stuff. That's somewhat consistent. How you draw eyes, for example, should be consistent. How crazy the proportions of your characters can be and stuff like that. That should be consistent. But within that consistency, find the biggest contrast you can to clearly communicate what kind of different personalities you have. So that's the one thing. And the other thing is, don't draw model sheets too early. I don't know, I feel like a lot of students do that. That once they hear about model sheets and productions, they're gonna do character design, and they immediately gonna design the character in like a T-pose, so they can model the character, or they can start animating it. But I feel like, let's have a look of this, how this works. Moment of truth. Not bad. Could have one more ease when the sleeve is coming down, but not bad. I do like how he's completely not flinching at all when the crazy sparks start. I do like it. Shall we do one more ease? I don't know. What was I in? I was in the middle of character design advice. So yeah, contrast between shapes that differentiate the personality. The other thing is, don't draw your character too early in a T-pose in a model sheet and start producing with it. Before you draw the model sheet, before you really do you nail down your character design and decide this is how the character's gonna look like, make a bunch of drawings in different situations, in different poses, in different moods. How does your character look happy? What is your character's favorite hobby? Let them do their hobby. Maybe you have a big dangerous knight who's doing knitting some socks or something like that. It doesn't have to be cartoony, crazy like that, but it just things that tell you more about their personality. What's their favorite food? Do they like to cook? They could be cooking it. Do they like to hang out with other people? Can you draw them with their friends, laughing and maybe crying and maybe being angry, and discover the whole range of your character. And while you do that, change the character design. While you're doing that, really try to feel out what is working for you, what isn't working for you, for what reason, what looks good, what doesn't look good, and change that. So yeah, that would be my advice. And maybe another advice is, but I've said it so many times, you can actually in the 2D animation class where we talk about making the bouncing jumping monster thing, I show a little bit about my character design process, where I go through let's draw all possible ears, let's draw all possible noses, let's draw all possible mouths that this character could have, let's do all possible head shapes, and then decide on a head shape and try all different noses on it. I outlined that character designing process in one of the later tutorials of the 2D animation class. 2D animation class. If anybody interested in learning animation from scratch, animatorisland.com/2D, or the playlist here on YouTube. It has some character design advice on there too. Sumant gives me the best channel about animation award. I'm so glad that you found your way here through YouTube, and I hope I can answer lots more of your questions. Like, there is another question: straight ahead or post to post? Which one is your favorite? Um, People can probably tell I do a lot of very careful post to post planning, as I also outline in the 2D animation course with the bouncing monster. So yeah, I do post to post a lot, and then I try to jazz it up and discover the animation straight ahead once again by doing runs through, like, okay, let's now just do, like, I do have my post to post. I have the character going from here to there, and now let's see how do the fists actually get up in the air, and then I'm gonna do that straight ahead and try to find my timing straight ahead. That's a thing that I sometimes do. So yeah. I guess I prefer a mix. Like, to me, a mix is the perfect method, working method for me. And I think Richard Williams actually outlines this too, this way of working in the Animator Survival Kit. That at first you need to really think about what poses you want to hit, and then when it's more about, like, how do I actually get there, you like, especially the head and the core of the body. I feel like that's the thing that I always try to do straight ahead. Like, I design my full key pose, the other full key pose, put them apart in the timeline, and then I just see how do I get there with the body and the head increasing the spacings. And sometimes, for gestures, you would do a straight ahead pass on the hands, things like that. Hey, Clueless Game Artist, nice to see you again. Oh, Nuck, that's great to hear. Nuck's teacher suggested my website to learn animation. That's so great to hear. I'm always so, like, sometimes I hear, like, from these great schools, like, Call Arts and, like, Animation Mentor, their online school. And sometimes I hear from students, they're like, oh yeah, I know you through, like, a professor from Animation Mentor, like a person who works at Disney or DreamWorks, recommended my YouTube channel, which is, warms my heart. Yeah, that, especially if you have Disney animators around, you apparently still sometimes get my channel recommended, which is really nice. Slay Troll asks, which pen tablet do you use? I use a Wacom Intuos 5, I think. That's what I use. I also have a Cintiq right in front of me. I used to draw on that, but it gave me a back pain. So nowadays I really rarely draw on it, sadly. But bending over really wasn't good for me. Wasn't working for my back. So now I have the pen tablet in front of me once again. Thank you, Edible Markers. I'm happy to help. Sumant. Yeah, we do have the 51 animation challenge here on Animator Island. And I challenge you today to do all 51 of them. And yeah, 51 animation exercises, a great thing to do if you want to improve systematically. Oh boy, now I do realize how my voice starts to give in. Wonder, like, can we do like a little bit more? Let's do one more breakdown. Let's do one more breakdown here. Especially because breakdown just... I didn't do a timing chart for this one, but I wrote down what it is. Okay, so that is nice of me. That is nice of past me to have written instructions down. Oh, I skipped a question. Let me see. SR20 Shane asked, Ah. Can you animate in perspective? And if so, give me some tip. Yeah, struggling with perspective. Honestly, nowadays, what I would do if I get a really challenging perspective thing, and it's not like an artsy thing where like the perspective changes all the time. I would fake it by, or trace it rather, by doing the perspective very roughly in a 3D animation software. And you don't need to know much of the 3D animation software to make a plane, make some spheres to represent your characters or some boxes, and then move the camera around. Learn a little bit about keyframing animation for the camera, and very rough blocks, these stand-ins for your 2D character. I'm assuming you mean 2D animation that you're gonna do, and then you use that as a guide. And you can do cool things, like if you don't want it to look very constructed, you can have like fisheye perspective by changing the settings of the camera. But I would probably animate a rough guide, really rough, crappy animation in 3D, and then draw over it. Yeah. And the other way to do it is to very carefully construct it. There are some tools, like some rulers. Forgot the name. There was like this Lazy Nezumi Pro, I think is the tool. It's a software that controls your mouse. It could control your mouse so that it sticks to a perspective grid and things like that. And, that makes things possible. Work with rough shapes first, like just with blocks, and then fill these blocks in with other shapes, with smaller blocks that represent more like how your character looks, and then animate that and get finer and finer and finer. But, perspective animation 2D, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work that can give you a lot of headaches for hours. I hope that answers your question. Someone asked where to send your links after doing. I think you mean the 51 animation exercises. I do regularly look for them on, for example, on Instagram. Yeah, mostly on Instagram. I look for hashtag 51 animation exercises and variants of it. You can tag me with @Animator Island on Facebook and Instagram, and I will see it. And if I can, I write a little feedback most of the time. And if I don't, come hunt me down in a live stream and be like, hey, you haven't seen my animation. I don't think you can post links in the YouTube chat, but we will find a way. We'll make it. Maybe, if more people do it and are interested in it, maybe one day we can make like a regular, like in a live stream, a little section where we have a look at what people are doing for the 51 animation exercises. Or like couple it with the monthly look at the 11-second club or something like that. Oh, what have I done here? Why can't I work more cleanly? No, I think actually this isn't too bad. I'm just realizing I'm getting hungry. I want my watermelon slices. We didn't even buy watermelon. Aww. Clueless Game Artist, Animator Island, recommended by multiple mentors I had from iAnimate. That is so crazy to hear. Why would anyone recommend me? No, I bet they do. I put a lot of work into my tutorials. They are meant for being recommended, hopefully, and seen as a good resource. That's why I do them. found your channel through Agora community. Oh, I really wanted to do more with the Agora people. I really love what they're doing, and the challenges they put together and things like that, and the live stream thing. And we talked about it. We had some emails back and forth, and then somehow that whole thing fell asleep, and I was doing other things on Animator Island, and really need to reconnect with them, do some projects together. That's the kind of thing I like about YouTube, that there is the potential of you working together with other creators and other communities and things like that. But sometimes it just doesn't happen. Sometimes you talk to people like, let's do a project together, let's do this and that, and then to nobody's fault, it's just life happens and other things happening, and I really hope to do, I feel like I have been a little bit of an island on Animator Island, that I never managed to set up any collaborations or that stuff like that. And I would really like to do that more and reach out to people more. And now that I have actually 30-something thousand subscribers, I feel like it's more possible to reach out to people and to be like, hey, you want to do something together? Healy, I never work cleanly, so much redrawing. Yeah, that's the curse of the 2D animator. But rough animation has its charm. If you have a style that works with it, where you're like, oh, this is some cool animation, then just do it rough. Can totally work. I actually, I'm getting more and more a friend of, depending what project it is, I think I would go rigging most of the time. Excuse me. If I do something with talking heads, a lot of dialogue, unless it's a very intense acting thing or something, I think nowadays I would always prefer rigging, just to get the content done and out there, and to just have something done and don't get frustrated with all the busy work that comes with it. I mean, rigged animation still has its unbelievable pitfalls and difficulties and challenges, but I feel like once the rig is done, you're so much closer to pumping out a lot of content, the content that you actually wanna deliver to the world, for the world to be seen. But for 2D animation to have clean animation, and then there's still so much to do after you did the rough. Good point from Colin. Perspective is worth learning if you have the time. It's really not that difficult, and once you've got it, you don't forget it. Yeah, the cool thing about learning perspective, compared to other things that you can learn in drawing, learning anatomy is a huge undertaking of a bunch of things that you need to look at and learn. And when it comes to perspective, you can learn how to construct perspective grids in a day, maybe. Then you've heard, let's make it 2. Then you have heard a bunch of ways to create construction, to construct perspective grids and stuff like that. It's not that hard, and start practicing. And in just 2 days, you can make tremendous progress with. Maybe I'm overselling this and overpromising, but it's not like in anatomy where somebody could tell you about how the arm muscles work. It's super complicated, and how the bone, the elbow, how it spins, blah blah blah. Tells you all of this in 1 day. You practice it a little bit, and a week from then, you still have to look it up and have forgotten it. Whereas perspective, is relatively easy to grasp and keep in mind. Comparatively, because it doesn't have Latin names of muscles. Oh, this breakdown. Yeah, good point, Colin. It will improve every drawing you ever do in the future. That is correct. And just, to start thinking three-dimensionally, the cat here, for example, like I could, like if I'm just thinking flat, it's different than, if I have something like this, from if I really think about, okay, what is the perspective behind it? Like how are these elements on a sphere? How do they change because they are on the sphere? And just by aligning things a little bit with shapes that you construct. Maybe I should have done this actually. Now that I'm seeing that, like doing this under drawing makes it so much more dimensional than what we have done here in the last drawing. And thinking about where does the ear actually stick out? Where is it behind the cat? This is like a, it's not necessarily bad to do something like this, but it's a different style. Like this feels a lot more dimensional and like you could touch it and pet the fur. And this is more, the other style is more graphic. Oh boy. Let's delete it so nobody sees that. It's not bad. Like there's a little bit perspective in the eye. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, and solid drawing is one of the 12 principles of animation that really tells you to keep volumes, and that goes for everything big and small, for just the head that you have, but for also the room that the character's in. It needs to be a solid room of dimensional space and time. This game artist. Okay. That's a nice question. Do you have any advice for speaking English as a non-native speaker? Recording English voiceovers, for example, makes me cringe and uncomfortable. Yeah, let's think about it. I mean, aside from the obvious, the more you do it, the better you will get. And if you just cringe too much to ever try, then you rob yourself from the opportunity of getting better in speaking English. And the big secret is to speak English a lot. Who would have thought that? But maybe find a place where this is easy for you to do. Besides, the problem is, once you start recording voiceover, you're so self-conscious, you're so focused on yourself, and you press play and you hear your own voice and stuff. Like, it gets, your ability to speak English doesn't get any more highlighted than that. So, if you find play Minecraft with other English speakers, both native speakers and other foreigners who don't speak English natively alike. Maybe if you have other hobbies that you can combine with that, meet with people in Discord groups. If you like pen and paper, play D&D in English, play a pen and paper in English. So that you expose yourself to a lot of situations where you learn instinctively by hearing other people speak English, but also by responding instinctively in English without having to listen to yourself. But, just doing it a lot. And my wife is American, so I speak a lot of English nowadays. But I think that's ultimately what helped me a lot. Especially like if you look at the earlier Animator Island videos, I don't know if I should send anyone that way. Like, look at my old videos. What a horrible thing to say on a YouTube channel. My German accent was a lot stronger, which, you know, it's okay. I still have a German accent ish. I was a lot younger. Less body fat stuff. But yeah, no, I think I have gotten a lot more comfortable with the camera and live streaming and stuff like that. And I would never have gotten there if it wasn't for just doing it. As for voicing characters, I think what me helped too is I was going for like my first voice acting things that I did in English were like very crazy characters, like, you know, skeletons or something, and characters with funny voices. So if I would speak a little bit weird and have a weird accent, that would be completely okay because the character is a weird character. Yeah, so that was my into the voice acting world by voicing characters that weren't supposed to speak perfect English. Yeah. And that got me over, you know, hearing my own voice in a voice acting context. And that's a really good point from Colin too. What you're doing, if what you're doing is good and done with good intentions, your audience won't judge you as much as you think. People will appreciate the effort you're doing. Yeah, that's a really good point. You know, if you put stuff out there and it is funny and entertaining, or maybe it's a tutorial and it's helpful, that matters more than how your voice sounds or how your accent is. Definitely. Really good point. Search today far and wide how to work on pronunciation after dying to record just 2 sentences for half an hour. Yeah. I mean, it can't, like, I have done that too, where I, you know, went to a dictionary website where they have recordings of the words to see how they are pronounced. And there just are some things where it's a really interesting thing. Like, for example, my accent isn't, like, I hope, noticeably German, but it is weird. Like, a native speaker can identify that there's something off. And that is usually because of the stressing of the syllables. I think I've gotten better at that too, because I actually looked into that and have been watching a lot of movies where, you know, hearing how English words are stressed will change it. But many European languages have the syllables, different syllables are stressed. Then, you know, it's not so much about the pronunciation, but about what syllable has the emphasis. And that is like the hardest thing to learn. Like, you can get rid of the if you want, you can get rid of the accent fairly quickly in a way that, you know, that I don't talk is English language like this, where I don't do the th. That's a thing you can pick up relatively early, but, you know, not doing doing all the syllables right and knowing how every word, which syllable is stressed. Like, that's an extremely big vocabulary you have to learn first. which I wouldn't really worry about that at all, because as you speak more English and hear more people speaking, that's a thing that will improve. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of trailing off. Don't stress about it. Have fun with it and try to find things that work for you. And if you do stuff that is cool, people will like it anyway, even if if you have an accent or something like that. Village Life says, I'm new to animation. My intention was to design animation specifically for kids. Cool. Let me know what are things I need to take care of. My main focus will be on 2D animation only. I mean, if you are, well, let's watch this real quick. Okay. Pretty cool. The first thing is, to learn the basics of animation. And I keep referring to my course over and over again to learn the basics of animation. We have a 2D animation course you can check out at animatorisland.com/2D, or here on YouTube, it's a playlist where you learn a lot of basics of 2D animation. But, to do actual animation for kids, like in films for kids, you dive into this whole thing of workflow. How do I write my story? That's not an unimportant point. And especially, do kids understand my story? Is my story working for adults and kids? Testing your stories. Maybe with an animatic, with a preview, with a storyboard, not only with a test audience, but also for you. How do you want to tell it? What camera angles do you want? Like for filmmaking, for actual filmmaking, there's this whole layer of storyboarding, shot sizes, how close is the camera? How do I tell something? Maybe that's not that important for children animation, but how do I create suspense or questions in the audience's mind? To participate and find something that they're interested in. A bunch of things to learn about storytelling, the hero's journey, posing a question, the central question of your film, answering the question with the central answer of your film. And once you've figured out the story, there's the whole thing of how do I do my production? How do I... you could edit in a video editing software and put your animatic together, your storyboard. You time your storyboard as an animatic in your video editing software. You say okay, there's a cut here. So from a cut to the next cut, that's a shot. You export this, you import this into an animation software like OpenToonz, animate the shot, export the shot, put it back into your video editing software, and shot after shot you go from the animatic drawings to how your film comes together with the final exports of your animation software. So yeah, there's this whole production thing that can really bring peace of mind if you have a good production workflow, if you really know what the steps are to get your animation done. This really gets making films for anyone from this, make a film, to make something that is actually doable. Tomorrow, write the script. The day after that, do the storyboard. Maybe a couple of days, do an animatic, see if it works. Go back to an animatic, try it again, try to improve it, find out what doesn't work. Get feedback from other people who say this worked, this doesn't work. And when you have the perfect animatic, when that feels right, all your storyboard images put in the timeline, then you go on to thinking about how do I animate. Character design is a whole thing that, is parallel to that. And to get an impression of that, you could watch making-offs, not only from Disney movies, but also from independent animators who went through having made a film without a proper workflow were completely stressed and blown away by it, and now in their next film they're doing it differently, and learn from their experiences and their input. So yeah, I don't want to scare you. I hope this wasn't scary to hear how many aspects you have to think about. But be aware that that's the wonderful and the problematic thing with animation, that each subcategory of animation you could study. You could study character design, but here, if you do a film as an animator, you need a character design real quick. You could study filmmaking, shot sizes, stylistic devices in film and stuff. There are people who fill 4 years of their life just studying that. Image composition, painting, color theory, all these things. And you need to set your priorities. What are your strengths? What do you feel, what can you already do? What do you feel the most drawn to? And then make the best out of it and improve on that and try again and again. Nox says, understanding timing is key to animation. Yeah, certainly. Timing is a huge aspect of it. And, analyzing timing in real life, how slow and fast things actually are. Having a good structure, like we're trying here, with the having one ease frame, then going into the breakdown, then easing with spacings that are close, where the lines are getting closer and closer together. This already gives you a timing, just planning the structure like this. Yeah, let's see. Colin had one more point about the whole voice acting thing as a non-native speaker. English people all have completely different accents, so don't worry. Yeah, just Canadian English, British English, and American English, and then areas of different countries. It's such a variety on how English is spoken, and I think adding and flavor of your own origin in it is not a problem at all. Yeah. It's a really nice point. Okay. Want to make short animation film. What should I do? We talked about it like just a couple minutes before. I hope you got all of that. Yeah, you must have. You wrote this comment 7 minutes ago. Yeah. Plan it well, learn about storyboarding and animatics and things like that. Have a good production plan. Think about the different steps and everything. You have some Indian audience, bro. Yes, I know. I'm so happy about everybody joining me. It's such a blast. It's so nice that you all are here. Really appreciate that. Creator in India named RG Bucket List. Let's see what that is. Let's switch off the sound here. I think I've seen something. Is a VTuber? I need to have a look at it. Yeah, maybe, one time we could do more like a React kind of live stream to look at different... it's a story time kind of thing. Okay. That's pretty cool. Yeah, a lot of cool content like that from storytelling YouTubers. It's really nice scene that developed there over time. I definitely gonna check that out more. It took a lot of fear to realize that most awesome animations are giant group efforts. Feedback is the biggest key to a good animation. Yeah. You know, and they have structures at big studios to do all that. They have animation supervisors with different strength. You know, maybe there's somebody who takes more attention to like the body mechanic way of things. Maybe they have like a director who's really into the psychology of the character and stuff like that, you know. And all of these people together, they make it happen. They really put it all together. We have a comment on Twitch that I'm looking at, but is it just spam? I have a hard time reading it. It's just a bot, I think. Alrighty. But yeah, you know, and there's also the point what I said earlier today to, you know, find the people that you like to work with. I have to take that advice myself, you know, trying to make it on my own and make my own series and make my own... What accent is that? Talking about accents today. What am I doing here? You know, doing stuff with people is just so much more fun, and you know, it's so impossible that you are good at animation and good at music and good at voice acting, all different characters. You know, it's just, I mean, there are people who are incredible and can do everything on their own, seemingly. But, you know, most of the time, people collaborate. And even like the storytelling YouTubers, like Jaden Animation, for example, she actually has people doing the animation with her and for her. Which, you know, no shame in that. That's a great thing. That's, you know, that's the key of producing content, great content, consistently, is getting help. So, yeah, really, really good point. Alright, I do feel how my voice is slowly fading away. I want to mention it one more time though. We have a Patreon. If you like what I'm doing, please consider supporting me with a spare $1 or $2 on patreon.com/animatorisland. And the coolest thing there, if you join it in the group mentoring tier, which is the higher tier, you can join a group mentoring session every single month, where you can bring whatever you're currently working on. It could be just an idea. It could be a finished animation. It could be a photo of a sculpture that you did. I don't know actually much about sculpting, but you know, an animation or something, and I can help you improve it, annotate it, draw over it, give you tips and tricks on how to improve not only your work, your current project, but also your skills by giving you exercises and pointers on what you need to learn and how you could learn it and practice it. And yeah, that's a monthly thing. So every single month we come together and you know, as a group. So you also get feedback from other wonderful people in the group. Hopefully they're coming too. But you know, I'll always be there, give you lots of tips and tricks. And I'm also talking with some other animators who will join as the group mentoring group is ever growing. So yes. That is that. If that is interesting to you, if you want to support me and what I'm doing, making more tutorials, making more live streams, please think about helping me on patreon.com/animatorisland. Oh yeah, Healy, that's really nice to hear. But you know, get your steady income first. That is the most important thing. That you know, when you are in the position to spare something, then I would be really happy if people support me. But I can totally understand if if people are not in the position to do that right now. But yeah, you know, it's an option. Colin, ready to collaborate. That's really cool. Yeah, we need to think about something. I was also thinking about, pulling more people together from like the group mentoring and from I was talking to some animators, some friends, and maybe do a bigger thing of some kind. I think that would be kind of nice. Yeah. Babu Billions likes the lamp. Yeah, it's kind of out of frame now, isn't it? We had it closer. We had it closer a while back. I really like this lamp too. Got it, I think, for my birthday at some point. Really happy about that one. Yeah, you're welcome. I love to give suggestions, tips and tricks, and help, and talk about animation for hours and hours and hours, because I love doing it, I love watching it, and I love sharing my thoughts and tips and tricks with you. So, with that being said, I'll be very happy if you are there next time as well. I had a great time with you all in the chat. Such amazing conversations. I'm completely blown away, and so thankful for you all hanging out with me today. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, good luck with your own projects, y'all. Keep on animating. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again next time. Let's see, we'll have some music here to play myself out. I think that could work. All right. So everybody take care, and looking forward to next time. Bye-bye. I'm live next Friday, again, same time, maybe a little bit earlier. I don't have a Discord yet, but we might have one soon.